Hi everyone, Ashley Mailloux here, taking a look at the Tuesday race of the day for August 12th. We'll go out to Assiniboia Downs and focus in on their third race on their program. Now they have 7 races on tap. We're going to focus in on the feature, and it's an allowance event for non-winners to life, fillies, and mares, and the distance is 7 furlongs, and I think that is key. I think that's a really big thing in this field when you look at some horses coming from 6 furlong events, or in the case of the number 1, Nikkitysplit. Stretched out to a mile last time out. It's going to cut back in distance to 7/8. Now we'll move to the time form US pace projection for this field of 6. And it looks like it could be a little strung out. I agree with that. I don't know if that's necessarily a deal breaker. It does favor front runners. Kind of look at this group. Nikkitysplit is going to be close to it based on what we've seen in those last 2. I have no doubt about that. But I do think the number 5, Applefest, she likely has to go. We've seen that out in Southern California. We've seen that in her last 2. I think she really has one way of going. So pretty much agree with this. And then the number 4, Mystery Dance, does have the late pace flag attached to her. If we see the version of her that we saw back in June of 2025, I agree. She could be rolling late. I'm just going to offer value in here, but I'm just going to have her work cut out for her, especially based on her last 2 efforts. So let's dive right into the field with the number 1, Nikkitysplit. And we'll take a look at her performance last time out in the R.C. Anderson. Now, she was favored in here. The second choice horse, 2 Left to Load, is able to circle the field from last and win and draw clear by 2.5. But Nikkitysplit is clear of everybody else in here. It was her first time going further than 6 furlongs, so maybe that worked against her. Maybe the mile was too far for her, and I think I'm curious to see her on the cutback, because 7/8 at Assiniboia are still going around 2 turns. I think that's going to suit her quite well. I kind of like that move, and I think, in my opinion, she's the horse to beat based on her resume to date. 2 wins, 2 seconds from 4 starts, and maybe had a little bit of an excuse last time out. So Nikkitysplit going to be a short price in here, but well drawn. The number 2, Wild Queenie, comes in from Woodbine, previously trained by Devin Gittins, now in the Jared Brown barn, who's having a very good meet. They do fairly well with the new acquisitions. Going to try the dirt for the first time. It's always a question mark. I kind of combine that in with her most recent performances, and I've just found her races to be lackluster. Her effort 2 back was okay. It wasn't great, and I think her running style could get her in trouble here. I think she's going to be closing from off of it, and you think about the dirt, you think about the kickback. There's just so many question marks I have about her here, but from a pedigree perspective, she's by Milwaukee Brew. Should have no problems trying the dirt, but it would be a tough spot to do it off her most recent claiming performances at Woodbine. The number 3, Majestic Appeal. We'll take a look at her most recent effort, and she was a big second here at 32-1 on the tote board back on July 22nd. You look at the winner always had the jump on her, and then Applefest ended up actually finishing 4th in here, who has a short price on the morning line in comparison to Majestic Appeal, and I just like this effort from her. She's the longest shot on the board, she's still closing, and Bound for Heaven always had the jump on her. Kind of looking at that performance alone and then going back further in her past performances, she is a little inconsistent at times, but maybe you give her a pass in her first or second races off the layoff, but I found in her last 2, she's outrun her odds. She's going to be probably somewhat of a price in here. I don't think she's going to be the prices that you necessarily saw in those last couple, but it also flatters her in terms of her dirt races. Just as a whole, the last time out was her best dirt race to date, and maybe Bennett being in the irons made a little bit of a difference, and you can see Boat to Ride, this 4-year-old daughter of Practical Joke, once again. The number 4, Mystery Dance, this one for Steve Gaskin. 5th last time out against the $10,000 non-winners of 2 Life. She's going to jump back up in class. She's going to go an additional furlong. She's never gone past 6 furlongs in her 12-race career, and she's another one. She's just too inconsistent. You go to the race 3 back, that puts her in the mix. She got a good figure, a 62 buyer speed figure, which sort of stands out, but I don't really love her last 2. She's had to close from off of it, and she's been unable to do so, and with the pace flowing here, don't think the pace is going to be contested, which puts her at a disadvantage. The number 5, Applefest. We saw her most recent performance where she was 4th in the same race that Majestic Appeal exits, and I don't know what to do with it. Obviously, she had problems from the start of the race, so watch the whole replay. I can forgive her there, but then she sort of made her move. She wanted to go to the front, and maybe that cost her a little bit, and then she tired. I don't know what sort of a price I would take on her. I think Nikkitysplit a little bit more consistent from her, and maybe that's just because we've seen Nikkitysplit more times locally than we've seen Applefest, but Applefest's maiden score was very impressive, went to the front off a very long layoff, a layoff of 13 months, made a sizable lead, and then still hung on to win by 4 lengths, so it was a really good performance. The 3rd place finisher came back to win next time out. Lots to like about it, but Still didn't love her performance last time out. I think she's going to be a short price in here. But as I said, you can give her a pass on her last out effort. And then finally, the number 6 is going to round out the field here. A winner last time out. She's finally able to graduate in her 27th career start. And sometimes with these sort of horses, right, the light bulb goes on and it stays on. Just have reservations knowing that it was a $7,500 maiden claiming event. She's jumping up. And it just took her so much time to get it together. But another one that sometimes you see horses, they switch jurisdictions and they come to life. Maybe that was the case with the number 6 last out on the drop down in class, but now she's going to have to step up to face winners for the first time. So this is the Tuesday race of the day. Don't forget race number 3 out at Assiniboia Downs. Free past performances on the DRF website. And I think it's not going to be shocking. I prefer Nikkitysplit over Applefest, and I think even kind of with that in my mind, I actually prefer a couple horses more than I prefer Applefest. Nikkitysplit on top for me. She's just a role model of consistency. I think she gets the right trip, and I think the key here is 7/8. I think a mile was just a little too far for her. But I do think the horse to use underneath is the number 3, Majestic Appeal. I know you got the value on her that you would kind of want. 2 starts back and most recently, but she ran very well last out. I wouldn't sleep on her. I think the rider made a difference, and I just think she could get an okay trip in here. Then I will use Applefest. I won't be shocked if she runs a huge effort, but I'm just being a little critical of her last out effort. And then finally from here, the number 4, Mystery Dance. If we see the version that we saw 3 starts ago, she could be rolling late, but for me, just a minor share for her at best in this field of 6. Good luck.